It's the honeymoon period with Mark and Elaine. A normal episode. Woohoo!
I'm not comfortable with this overhyped introduction.
The reason I'm doing an introduction is because we've had a lot of new listeners recently. So I'm making it clear to our new listeners that this is what we normally do. Because lots of people have come to us through our Severance Instant Reaction podcast episodes, which has been fabulous, and you're all incredibly welcome. Normally, this is what we do. We sit on the sofa. Mark's fiddling with his iPad as I'm speaking. We sit on the sofa and we talk about the TV and the films we've been watching. And that's what we're going to do today. And we haven't done it for a while. And normally we do a cold open, which is why Mark's not impressed by me doing a smashy and nicey, hi, it's Mark and Elaine from the honeymoon period. So yeah, we're going to talk about the TV and film we've been watching recently, and we're going to start with telly.
I would suggest that we start with film.
Yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome to the honeymoon period with Mark and Elaine.
Saturday night at the movies. Who cares what picture you see? When you're hugging with your baby, last row in the balcony.
It's film.
So I've got a couple of films which I've watched. Have you watched any films?
I've watched. You know what? I don't think I've been to the cinema this year. I think I've attempted to go at various times, but in our world as parent carers, things have been challenging, let's just say, and my timings on things just haven't quite been right for where I needed to be elsewhere. The pictures just haven't had the right times for me to go to things.
Well, you don't need to go to the pictures because as we are watching Severance, we have Apple TV Plus. And one of the films I've watched is an Apple TV Plus film.
Right, okay.
The Gorge.
Oh, The Gorge, right.
Do you know anything about this?
Only because you told me about it the other day when we were out on a walk.
Okay.
So I know, let's see how much I've been listening.
This is going to be interesting.
Not very much. I know it's got the man from the drumming film in.
Miles Teller.
Thank you. And I know it's got Anya Taylor-Joy, and they are on opposite sides of some sort of bridge or a gorge. They're on opposite sides of a gorge.
It would be called The Bridge.
Yes.
If that wasn't problematic for copyright reasons.
And one's from one country and one's from another.
So, yes, they are airlifted into a random location where they don't know where they are. They are knocked out and dropped in this wooded location. They are given a military outpost and they are one side of the gorge. There is a quick handover from another operative who's been there for a year just to say, you need to look out. It's only you for a year. You're not going to see anyone else. The only other person you will see is the person across the way who is Russian or American, depending on which side you're on. But you're not allowed to communicate with them. This is a weird film.
It sounds like a Black Mirror episode.
So it starts off kind of like that. Yeah. So we don't. The mystery is you don't know what's down the gorge. You don't know where they are. You don't know what the motivations for them being there are. All we know is that the guy who had it before says he thinks it's the gate to hell. The film is kind of in three parts. First of all, it's just them getting used to it, like getting used to living by themselves and everything like that. Then it goes into kind of a rom-com.
Because they can see each other over the way and maybe they're communicating. I'm imagining like little pictures up against the window. Can they talk to each other?
They are not allowed to talk to each other.
Right, they're not allowed to talk to each other. Right,
they find ways to communicate, shall we say.
Okay.
And it's actually kind of incredibly sweet. Like, Miles Teller, I think he's a decent screen presence. Anya Taylor-Joy is obviously excellent. They have a little, not so much meet cute, but there's a little montage of them getting to know each other without directly meeting or touching or anything like that. One issue is two of the things that they do to get to know each other. Miles Teller and her are playing the drums across the gorge. Okay. And then next they're playing a game of chess across the gorge.
Oh, so it's quite knowing then.
Well, none of the rest of the film's like that. So I don't know why they chose that. Like, I wish that 5 seconds would just have been cut out. But anyway, the film completely flips at that point. Almost like, do you ever watch The Descent?
Yes, yeah.
I bet you hated The Descent.
I
didn't you?
really hate the tight enclosed spaces. Brilliant.
Yeah. If ever there was a film that didn't need to be 2 hours and 7 minutes long, this is it. But it's a lot of fun, and you could almost watch it kind of as two different episodes of like an hour long, of one where it's just two guys stood across a gorge from each other, and then the next one is a is like an action thriller. But it's perfectly fine. Like, it's better than better than a straight to streaming, and another straight to streaming is a different prospect nowadays, and you know things get taken from production straight there, whereas normally they would go to the cinema. But it's better than a film. It's better than the film I expected. But still, it's too long and it's very weird.
Okay, not a recommendation then. I can't get the gist of whether you liked it or you didn't.
This is the ultimate on the line film for me. It's fine. Anya Taylor-Joy and Miles Teller are perfectly decent in it. There is some good action in it, but it's a lot of bullshit. Do you know what else is a lot of bullshit?
Oh, I know. You know, I've not heard a good review of Captain America. What's the subtitle for this?
Brave New World.
I keep forgetting it. Yeah, Brave New World.
I'm gonna go to bat for this in some ways, and I'm gonna talk about the positives of this. This is obviously the new Captain America, following on from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where we see Anthony Mackie taking the reins of Captain America
And that
for
was
the
on
first
TV.
time in a film. Yeah, that was a TV show. It was all right, I think.
I thought it was terrible, and I think it had a lot of production issues.
Yeah.
Things clearly went on behind the scenes, and it was. I understand there were lots of story. The story was changed as things went along or after the event.
Well, it's a good job they've got past that trope
Yeah,
now.
No, I was thinking that.
Right, so let me park that for a second. Positives is Anthony Mackie, I think, is a really, really good presence on screen. I think he's really likable. I think he's a good action star, and I think he's fine as Captain America. There is like a little sidekick, which, as I understand it, is from that TV show, which I swear I watched, but you could sit me down, I would not remember Joaquin Torres, played by Danny Ramirez, as long as I live.
Oh, I thought Joaquin Torres was the actor's name, so
No.
that just goes to show you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's the actual character's name, right? Wow.
He's playing a sidekick. He's got the Falcon suit, so he's like the
Right. Wow.
the young guy who is
Taking over from him.
a lot of these films seem to have young sidekicks in, almost like they want to do a Young Avengers film at some point,
Right.
doesn't it? And after a lot of standalone films, this film feels the most integrated into the MCU world that we've seen for a long time. There is mention of the Avengers, which I swear I haven't heard for a long, long time. And it kind of feels like we're going towards something, which I kind of really enjoyed. There's references to that. This is almost like a sequel to the Incredible Hulk film from 2008, I think it is. Not no one's favourite MCU film, I suppose, like at all. But there's certainly plenty of references to it. It's not a film I'm overly familiar with anymore, but at least it was nice to remember things and paid off. It also pays off like some things that were set up in the Eternals. Did you ever see the
Didn't
Eternals?
see them. Them.
Didn't see them. I don't think you'll see them anymore either.
No.
But yeah, it was nice to feel part of a world rather than just a kind of standalone. We're going off to the Quantum Mania, the end. This film, though, has been absolutely ripped to shreds. Like, you can see that this has been just side plots added in. There's characters that should be a bigger deal, like, and are introduced and then just disappear for the rest of the film. As I understand it, Giancarlo Esposito has been added in from the reshoots. But it feels really lazy because Giancarlo Esposito is a 65-year-old man, and he's kind of matching Anthony Mackie as Captain America, like in fights, and you, come on, like, it's no good. It's just really, really bad. There's characters Sherry Haas, who is an actress that I'm not familiar with, but plays a really interesting like Secret Service agent, but absolutely nothing to do in this at all. And then Harrison Ford. I thought Harrison Ford was going to absolutely phone his performance in because, you know, when he's not doing indie, he can be he can be a bit of a grump. But to be fair, he's giving he's giving more to this than I thought he was going to. The big problem with this is Red Hulk is all over the marketing, all over the trailer, and you know exactly what this is, where this is going. But that's the last act of the movie. It's built like it's a big surprise.
Yeah,
and that's really, really annoying. And there's 10 minutes to go, and we're still not seeing a big red Hulk on the screen. So I know where this is going. There is a post-credit sting on this. Do not stay for the post-credit sting. There is absolutely nothing to it. And I'm someone who really, really likes to stop the end credit sting, and the room was deflated when that came up. It's nice to see Isaiah Bradley back in the film. Carl Lumley's character. Do you remember him from the?
Yes, I do. I do actually remember him. Yeah.
There are people who come back from the Incredible Hulk that we've not seen for a long, long time. Design of them is appalling for a mainstream film. Like, it almost looks like a parody Saturday Night Live sketch of what a superhero baddie could be. And the worst thing is, they cut Seth freaking Rollins out of this film. So
no, he's not in it, is he?
Well, he's not in it. He filmed things for it.
Did
but
he?
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely cut out. He's on the cutting room floor.
Seth Rollins from WWE, if anyone out there doesn't know. So I'm not putting Freakin in the middle of it because I'm just not. It's Seth Rollins.
Yes.
From the WWE.
Yeah. So
sad times. He wasn't in it. What would he have been?
I think he's a bad guy from plot that's been removed.
Plot removed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's basically all I've got to say about it. It's lower level MCU. It's MCU landfill, although it feels like they are going towards something bigger.
Watching television.
Let's do what we're going to do. Two big shows, two sort of budgety big telly shows that lots of people are talking about. We're going to do 0 Day first, which is your Robert De Niro. Is this the first time Robert De Niro's been in like a TV show? Can you think of anything else that he's, because I obviously have known him for cinema, but I don't remember him being in a sort of a, in inverted commas, prestige TV show before.
I mean, before we went on, I was going to make a joke about this being a prequel to One Day, but
oh, as in, say, Main Humour, honey. One Day, as in the romantic comedy One Day?
Yes, that was out last year.
Oh, because 0 Day would be like a 0, and it would be before a 1.
Yes.
Wow. Explaining the jokes really takes away from the comedy, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So, live check on this. Robert De Niro was in a TV show called Nada 2 years ago.
Okay. Not heard of that.
I haven't heard of it either.
No. So first sort of big one that people have heard of.
Yes.
And it's a bit of a, I'm going to mention Black Mirror again. It's that sort of feel to it, isn't it? The premise is he's an ex-president and he is called back into the fold when essentially the lights go off for like a minute, don't they? So everything, I want to go, like I want to make that noise because everything electrical turns on internet, and it's like a cyber, not cyber security, but a cyber attack.
Yes.
That just, is it? Am I right in thinking like the lights go off, the electric goes off, all of everything medical goes off, planes fall out of the sky, which is not something I should be saying when you're just about to get on a flight.
Wow.
in the next few days.
Nice, yeah.
Sorry, Mark. But that sort of thing, traffic lights don't work and trains come off. There we go.
Cats living with dogs.
I'll stop now. But yeah, everything goes dark for like a minute, isn't it? It's a
Yeah.
short period of time, and then it comes back on again, but it's had this devastating effect, and he's pulled back in. He's very strongly coded as Biden, I think. Did you get that?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not spot that. I mean, with a black female president, let's call
Who's just
her
been
Kamala Harris.
she's just been brought in.
She's been brought in.
And he's there as like a mentor figure in the background.
Production staff took a shot at this one and might not have got it right.
Now, I don't want to go any further with the plot on this.
Yes.
Because if you, did you enjoy this show? Did you like it?
So I've only seen the first episode.
Okay, right.
If I tell you that I have 5 episodes downloaded for my trip on a plane,
On a plane.
I might wait until I'm in the hotel room to watch.
Well,
them.
that bodes well, because I was going to say, to everyone at home, if you watch this, but I then sort of skipped ahead a little bit because I thought, I wonder if you actually liked it, because I wanted to say that I watched it in 2 days.
Oh wow! Okay.
And I think it's a quite a compelling storyline, because you've got a lot of mystery attached to it. Like, there's lots of things going on with Robert De Niro's president. There's lots of things going on within his family setup. There's the whole thing of who has caused this attack and why. So it's not that kind of sets us away, but there's a lot of other things behind the scenes. And also, I thought it was quite. Oh, I don't want to say realistic, do I? With all of the with all the context, but it is one of those things where I suppose when you're watching shows like this, you expect a terrorist attack or aliens. Like, we've been all of these big disastrous events, or So, there was one years ago where the sun got really, really big and everyone was going to die because the sun got really big. This is, you don't have to think about it. Look,
Can I tell you now,
Mark's
the sun is really, really big.
Yeah, I know, Mark's just grimacing at me. But that was the premise, was, it's something bad has happened. I haven't seen, and might be that I've just missed it, but this seemed fresh to me in this idea of the 0 day where everything essentially goes dark. But it wasn't just that everything was turned off forever. It was like this momentary flicker. It was a bit like a few weeks ago we had a power cut.
No, that's not. No, the power went off for 2 seconds.
It really reminded me of that, though. And I freaked out. I started boiling kettles and like putting water into the bowl in the sink for no reason, because I was really worried. I was like, well, what would we do if we didn't have like any power? It really reminded me of the vulnerability that everything is attached to all of these systems, like the electric, the internet, all of those things are there and everything's working.
Well, it happened at 9 o'clock at night, so we'd probably go to bed, was what I suggested
yes,
to you.
I know you did. I know. But it really made me think of that. And this show made me think, what would happen if all of these things that we rely on just suddenly get turned on? And of course, the question is like, who's doing it and what do they want and all of those sorts of things. And I think it's quite a shrewd, if not a bit on the nose, political thriller.
Yes. I mean, yeah, there is. And there are obviously, at the end of the first episode, there is something that comes into play which hasn't been prominent in the rest of the show. And yeah, I mean, it's just the fact that I'm been busy that I've not caught up on more of this yet. But yeah, I'm kind of saving it in my back pocket to watch while I'm away. And
I do recommend, I think I watched it too quickly. And I really do recommend taking time to watch it. I think you're doing it right in that I know you're taking it away with you, but you won't just sit there and watch them one after another. You'll have other things to do. And I really recommend that to our listeners. Like, don't do what I did, because then it just it all mushed up together and it was over very quickly. Whereas this next show that we're going to talk about, Paradise, I've not been able to binge watch it because it's been released weekly, and that has been so much better. I've really sat with the ideas and I've thought about it, and I've looked forward to seeing the next episode and wondering where the story's going to go. And very similarly, with, you're talking about 0 Day. Paradise is another show, and I know you've only watched the first episode as well of that. I've watched the entire thing. Very similarly, the show sets you away with an idea, which is that James Marsden's president, get my teeth in, James Marsden's president has an incident.
Yeah,
and
again, let's call him Con F. Kennedy.
No. Yeah, so he
a young charismatic playboy president who's
it.
like using vibes to get by in his
he's
presidency.
he's full vibes, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like, and very like, come and have a drink with me, and he's smoking out at the back of the White House, and these things will kill me eventually, all of that sort of stuff.
No. Can we actually do the line?
No.
So,
Because I can't remember.
because it's one of the cheesiest lines I've ever heard in a TV show.
Go on then.
Sterling K. Brown says to James Marsden. Sterling K. Brown plays
His agent.
Secret Service agent,
Security agent,
head
isn't
of
it?
Secret Service, looking after him.
Mm.
And he says, while James Marsden is smoking, he says, those things will kill you. And James Marsden turns around and goes, they can get in line.
So yeah, basic premises for anyone who hasn't seen it. President has an incident. Sterling K. Brown's agent needs to work out what's gone on. That's your basic thing. But much like 0 Day, when you get to the end of the first episode, something happens that turns everything on its head. And I think that, the best thing with this show is to not look up anything at all to do with it. I didn't know something was going to occur towards the end. I had a feeling that something wasn't quite right when I was watching the first episode. I don't know if you had that, or you were sort of alert to the fact that something was going to occur, probably because I'd told you it.
Well, I mean, yeah, when someone says watch as little as possible of this, it is kind of a clue that something's going to happen.
But I think you do get the feeling that you're not quite sure what's going. There are flashbacks, and then you're in present day, and these things are happening.
Well, I mean, it's told over 2 timelines, isn't it? And I understand by the fact that James Marsden is featured heavily in the marketing for this, probably going to carry on over 2 different timelines. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah. So we've got when he is starting his second term and Sterling K. Brown comes in as his head of the Secret Service, and they're developing a relationship.
And then modern day, where obviously time has then moved on, and they have had a relationship that hasn't always been the best of relationships. It's been up and down.
Precisely.
So with those 2 times where you kind of see like the friendship forming, and then you're wondering why they've sort of fallen out.
Yes.
Because you see that something has happened along the way to make things difficult for them. Are you going to carry on watching the rest of this show?
Yes, but with trepidation.
Okay.
And the reason I am saying this is, and I've got to be very careful of what I say on this, because I don't want to say too much. But there are revelations, but they are revelations to no one other than the audience. Everyone else in this show is kind of in the know on what is being revealed at certain different points, and therefore I find that a massive problem.
I don't understand what you're saying there. So, are you saying that the audience knows more than?
No. I'm saying the other way around.
The other way around, right?
Yeah. And from the first episode. And you said to me that this is a mystery box.
Yeah.
That's as may be, but from what I've seen so far, and there is huge revelations that come out the blue. Everyone that is on screen knows all of these beforehand.
Yes, that's true.
And this is just a revelation for the sake of making the audience gasp.
Yes, you're entirely right. Don't let that put you off. Give it a few more episodes. Because I think that first episode is very much like a pilot and selling itself to a network, in that once you get through that first episode, you're then into the story, and you're then asking questions, and you're asking questions at the same time as the characters, because things occur within the storyline that the characters go on a journey to find things out, and you're finding them out with them. I have to say, Mark, I know you're just about to go for it. This is and everyone at home, this is a stick it on, enjoy the Phil Collins that pop up every now and again. It's just another day for you and me in paradise. Enjoy the mixtape that the president seems to love. So he loves like his 80s music. So there's a load of 80s music in this and loads of covers. Enjoy the not so cracking dialogue, and actually enjoy the performances of James Marsden and Sterling K. Brown, because there were some excellent performances. They're keeping a straight face. They're keeping going with what's happening. And just, it's one of those films where, it's one of those TV shows where you've just kind of got it, you've got to park everything, you've got to go with it, and and just enjoy it. Enjoy what's in front of you. Now you may, and I'm talking to you directly, Mark, you may get a couple of episodes into this and go, nah, not for me.
And yeah, and I'm willing to give it another shot from the first episode. I find I have major issues with the revelation at the end of it. It just seems silly to me. It
is silly. It's totally silly. And you know what? As you go through all the episodes, it gets sillier at certain times. Some of the dialogue is, there's something that there's a villain, and there's something that a villain says about being like a Bond character later on down the line that is the clunkiest piece of dialogue I've ever heard. But the show knows what it is. There's a lot of money being put into it. For me, it's really enjoyable. It's an enjoyable watch because of the nature of the it's put it on, forget about your troubles, and watch this mystery unfold.
Well, I mean, I like the cast. Like, I love Sterling K. Brown. I think he was like an absolute standout in American Fiction last year.
Yeah.
Probably the year before, actually. Julianne Nicholson, who's... I'm still trying to understand who the hell she is in this show.
You'll find out.
Yeah. And I love James Marsden, mostly from Enchanted. Yeah. But,
he's so good in this.
Yes.
And like you say, you're going to see him in flashback. You can see him in present day. You'll really enjoy him. And he's one of the... There's one point where he's like wandering around in his dressing gown, and he's just having a very, very good time.
I'll carry it on. I mean, I would have it downloaded to my iPad if we had the tier on Disney Plus, which allowed it downloads.
Do we not have that?
No, we don't. No, so it's gonna have to wait till I get back.
Yeah.
Because it's on Hulu in America. So
yeah.
Yeah.
But I really recommend, especially if you're someone like me who can sort of put it all to one side and just stick it on and just go with it. And there's mysteries. If you're someone that really likes those sort of mystery where you're like, oh, what's happening here, what's happening there, and you can park, all of your doubts about the dialogue and loving the music. I really loved the music in this. I loved how they wangle it into every episode.
Do you know what? I totally forgot about Another Day in Paradise.
Yeah, I mean, that's just amazing. And it's a cover. It's a cover of the Phil Collins. Yeah, so yeah, I personally enjoyed, because I think they're very similar in the terms of their it's political thrillers. They're a bit crackers. I enjoyed Paradise so much more than Zero Day.
But you finished Zero Day in a day or two?
Two, yeah. And now I finished Paradise. And actually, one of the episodes of Paradise, it's episode 7, which is like a standalone episode, is genuinely one of the greatest episodes of TV I've seen this year, and I've watched a lot of Severance. Standalone episodes.
It's the beginning of March.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, that's
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was a quick episode.
That was a quick, but it was nice to catch up actually, because we haven't done what we typically call a main show for quite some time now, because we've been doing weekly instant reactions of Severance, and 8 weeks of Severance. It's taken over our lives on a Friday night. But as someone is about to get on a plane and go do exciting things, we thought we better sneak in a main show. So yeah, it's been nice to catch up on
It has.
what we've been watching.
And just previous to this, we practiced our recording for When I'm Aware. So.
Yes, we did. We put the technology to the test. Hopefully, Robert De Niro will be out there saving cybersecurity for us, and everything will work out when we have to record internationally.
Intercontinentally.
Because the last time we did this, I know I've mentioned this on episode earlier, but the last time we tried to record when one of us was in one country and one of us was in another, the recording didn't work. So
one of our recordings
yes,
worked.
one of our recordings didn't work. That would be me. Yeah, so thanks very much for listening, whether you're a long-term listener or you are new to the podcast. We're really delighted to have you here, and we will be back with 2 more episodes of Severance and some more main shows as we go forward.
See you next time.
See you next time.